Talking about big risks, is it time to pull the plug on Snowy 2.0? Because we're hearing that with the additional transmission costs, it could be a $20 billion project with no guarantee the thing's going to work. Wouldn't we be better off just to pull out of it and spend that money on known technology to bolster our electricity grid?
Oh, Chris Bowen's plan's got as much chance of working as you got a herd of unicorns showing up at Randwick on the weekend. Snowy 2.0 was always going to have these types of challenges because it's really technically complicated and you've got to build a heap of transmission. But look at the proposal from Labor, Chris. 28,000 kilometres of transmission, 2 million hectares plus of solar panels, thousands of wind turbines that you have to hook up, and the whole lot has to be backed up again by something reliable like gas, and somehow that's cheaper. Well, I think everyone out there listening to this program knows that's complete nonsense. It's not going to happen. Paul Broad was exactly right in his forecast.
Now, I'm not here to stick up for Blackout Bowen's electricity plans. I think he's going to have to wear the chaos and price increases that we're going to continue to see. But Snowy 2.0 is not Chris Bowen's plan, it's Malcolm Turnbull's plan. This happened when you were part of a government. Obviously, it was the wrong move. Weren't any of you able to get to the Prime Minister back then and tell him that this was an ill-conceived plan that they'd done zero cost-benefit analysis on?
Chris, I think you go back and check the records, you'll see me there saying it's going to cost $10 billion because that was the information I had from people who know what they're doing. This was always going to be a challenge. It's a difficult project. And, mate, I've fought some of this nonsense now for 10 years, like 1,000 broken records.
Well, you have.
Because the proposals just won't work.
But the point is here, this was climate politics, partisan climate politics by Malcolm Turnbull that's delivered this white elephant, this expensive disaster, isn't it?
Well, look, I think Malcolm paid a price for all of that. He was no longer the Prime Minister. And that's a pretty big price to pay.
Well, $20 billion is a big price for the rest of us to pay.
Well, it's not there yet. But my concern, the political side of this, mate's really straightforward. We need to see more Chris Bowen. That's great. Keep doing crazy stuff. That's good for us in terms of politics, but it's bad for the country. And every single member of the federal parliament should be there for the national interest, regardless of what party they comes from.
Spot on.
And we've got to strengthen our country, not make it weaker. We've got to make sure we've got reliable energy. We've got to make sure that we can afford, the Australian people can afford to pay for it. There is no way that you can build all of this new equipment, material, transmission lines, generation, and not have the price go up. It has to be paid for, and it's paid for by every single Australian.
It sure does. Thanks for joining us, Keith, and have a good weekend up there with Magic Round. I hope the lights stay on in Brisbane for that.